Hello, brothers and sisters. I wanted to put this on the internet. This is a wonderful Torah portion this week, running from Numbers 30 to 30, I think 36. Numbers 30 through 36. And I wanted to explain to you that the Father lays everything out in a code. It's like there's parallels that are running right along with us. And to set this up, I wanted to explain one of my gifts is discerning of the spirit realm. There's like another realm that's operating right alongside it that operates both in the angelic and the demonic portals and the gates, bring in the transportation and all of our come, sort of like a stairway to heaven. Yeshua said, John, that's a portal. That is this realm I'm going to be walking you through real quickly. It's a great Torah portion. It's like it's balanced out where it has to. If you don't make a proper commitment, Numbers 30 is the commitment of vows. And if you make a commitment to Yahweh, don't mess up and renounce the vow. Okay? Don't walk away from it. And it goes into the bidding with the whoredom. I won't go back into the Torah portion where it talks about all the women, Balaam and Balak. Balaam had no idea how to curse the children of Israel because Yahuwah would not allow it. So what he did, he secretly whispered into the ear of Balak and telling him, well, if you get your little girls over there, wear clothing that's sort of like clinging to their body to make them alluring to men, and have our blood when it's in a perverse state of altais. And that's spiritual, because that chapter talks about we have to and destroy all of our hoarders, all of our adulteries and our fornications with the Messiah. We have to go through this stage before this realm can really operate as it should, okay? So I'm not going to read. I'm just going to make this a quick overview. Because most people read this in the surface, the flesh, the presence, and they just don't get it. But all the Torah is, he said, that he taught me. Think about it a minute. So there's another realm right out there, portals and the gates. Again, this is demonic too. In my early days, because Satan demands it. Sort of like wanting to test Kepha. Okay. Okay, let's go through 30. As a vow to Yahweh, this is verse 2, or swears an oath to bind himself by some agreement, legal access to this other realm. Satan's always been there. He's owned most of us, and he's already hooked up and connected. All of his portals are already there and operating. What I'm trying to say here is that you swear an oath, yes, yes, no, no. What I mean now, I can't believe how many people are still so paganized, they don't understand. Yahushua, he would never do away with the Father's law. The Torah says, but see, he fulfilled that in the sense he made it completely binding, okay? He made it completely binding. So let your yes be yes and let your no be no. So now, because he didn't say, well, he did away with swearing oaths. No, he made your yeses and no's yeses. So you walk through your life making covenants with people all day long. They're actually, in Yahweh's mind, they're oaths. You swear an oath and you're not going to get away with it when you come to the judgment. Yahushua said, whatever careless word you speak, you're going to come to me and you're going to have to deal with it. I'm for your face. And tell me, struggling, it's hard to die. He didn't mince his words. He said, if you don't forsake everything and give up everything for me, you can't have me. I'm learning how hard that is. Oh, that can't be that bad. There's a lot of Jim that just doesn't want to give up to war. And he's so kind to me. I understand that. We all are struggling. So this is the vow. Chapter 30 is the vow. Because we are 7 year slaves. And if you're going to continue in with it, you have to have your ear bored with an awl into the torture stake. It's a shadow picture, a shadowy little way of saying, you have to die too, Jim. Yod or a spike, a tent nail, whatever you want to call it, being pierced into a piece of wood. See? It's exciting. Through the 7th year. See? So that's it. You have to piece all the Torah together. You made a commitment to him. So 30 is very critical. Ezra and whoever planned out these Torah portions is wonderful. I mean, that's why these are 2 combined Torah portions. They fit the first condition of coming into the Messiah. You will not break your word. You do according to everything that comes out of your mouth. Now, we won't go through all this, but women, since they are the weaker vessel to where, don't know the weaker vessel. Women is absolutely wonderful. If you want to get something done, you give it to a woman, okay? People have used this analogy. It's the only way I can figure out how my mind works versus the female. Men's minds, we have a bunch of compartments, and we can go unlock from one, go to the other. Our compartments, that's why they're erratic and wide open. They're online. They cannot close one off from the other. Okay, that's why the weaker vessel. That's why you could break their vows, because they're completely emotionally driven. Everything's wide open with them, and it's actually a good thing because a woman can do 5,000 things all at once and not back. That's why women can have their vows broken, because they don't reason like men do. I'm not saying they're not as smart, but they're weak. They cannot operate in our realm. Again, it's design. It's not less, more. It's not better or worse, lower or higher. So notice he talked about the father hears about, and if the father or the husband forbids her, it's shut down. Okay. Now let's go back to 14. This is Numbers 30, verse 14. Vow every binding oath to afflict her being, let her husband either confirm it or let her husband nullify it. But now hear this. This is the type of the Messiah's work. Everything's a parallel. It's figurative, okay? What she has bound herself are standing. But if he nullifies them after he has heard them, then he will have to bear her wickedness. Yeshua bears our sins. You see the parallels? We make mistakes. So he's able to nullify, and all he did goes on him. He paid it the torture stake. Now you have to connect this with being pierced with an awl or a tent stake, like the hands, pierced. We have to make our commitment every, or that first 6 through the 7th year, and getting pierced to my ear, and the ear is hearing. It's the Shema. You'll hear Deuteronomy 6, a piercing in the ear. That you're going to hear the shepherd's voice. See how the symbol looks? We're not going to go back into 22 and 3, as far as the Balaam and Balaam. Okay. Balak and Balaam had that conference that we learned in this sexy women go out and have it like it all, pretend it's like it's religion. Okay. Get their pretty clothes and that like Christianity. You should see, I can't stand Christianity. You don't believe the Obama seeing, you're starting to breathe a little heavy. You want to have passionate sex with them. It's a metaphor. That's that whore. There's 2 women in scriptures. Okay. I want to hit just a few chapters or a few verses. This is our personal sanctification. We have to get the other woman, the woman that says in the book of Proverbs, that says, my husband's gone on a long journey. He's not going to come until the dark moon's upon us. No, Yom Teruah. He's not, I have a lot of time to have a bunch of sex with you. I've already coated my bed with linens, master, children of Israel, on these Midianites. Listen to me. After you have been gathered to your people, after you will be part. Moses spoke to the people saying, arm yourselves for the campaign. Hit this very lightly. They fought against the Midianites as Yahweh has said. They slew all the males. They slew all the sovereigns of Midian. And the sons of Israel, they took all the women, have moral standards to if she allows her figure, the tightness to allow her body's features to be clothing covering it. To a man, he's just by aroused. It's sort of like some of the sexiest things about a woman when they have like a sheer type clothing on. They're still covered, but the contours and the curves and the profiles, hubba, hubba, hubba. You follow me? So the Israel took through all the women captives. So this is saying we still have strength. I do. All the women, this is verse 9, of women, or our old hoarded life of wanting life to be our self-sovereignty. We're still alive. We're not letting him fully lay down in his death into his burial and death coming up in resurrection. We say, no, I like it. I can still, it won't happen. It is so ingrained, and it's like a Romans, I'm sorry. Is it Romans 7? 1 Corinthians 7. I'm going blank. One of the sevens of Romans or 1 Corinthians, where it talks about, oh man that I am. My man of sin loves sin, but I have another man that loves the Torah. There's a battle going on. So the sons of Israel, this is verse 9, 13 cap. All the tightly clothed, their clean clothing. Oh, baby, we're going to have some fun with these girls. They're probably going to tending on the spoil of their livestock and all their possessions. They burned with fire all their cities where they had dwelt and all of their settlements. Took all that spoil and all that booty, both of man and beast. They brought all captives and the booty to Moshe. Shadow type are all the ones who caused the children of Israel through the word of Balaam to trespass against. So that's the word to Balaam. Just have them go in their little sheer silhouette where you can just see all the aspects of their figure. And then they'll mention, well, in our faith, if you want to have an offering with our Elohim, the Baal of openings, Baal of Peor, but the God or the dominion or openings means openings in your body. Notice that's the God they worship. They love their sign. It's an abomination. It's the Baal of openings, the dominion of openings. Slay everyone among them. Kill every woman who is known man by lying with them. That means getting the impure is known man by lying with man. But you'll keep alive whoever has been slain, whoever has touched any slain, they shall sanctify themselves. Let me explain quickly about the 7 days. That's why we have a seventh day Sabbath, not a moon Sabbath where it's 8 or 9 days on the beginning of the month. 7th day, that's Moshe and Aaron before the tabernacle, the door of the tabernacle, being consecrated for 7 days or something weekly. And again, a week. Weeks are never in the month. They operate separately, but there's sometimes the month will align with the week just for that 1 month, and sometimes two, but it always cycles its way back out too. I look at the Torah as the 5th gospel. You follow me? It's just the Messiah being revealed backwards or from the inside out. Yeah, it's made every object of wood, because even the tabernacle is made up of goat skin or goat hair, remember? Variations on the layers over the temple. And look at this. This is all through the Torah also. Only the gold, the silver, the bronze, the iron, tin, lead, whatever metal can pass through the fire, it must go through the fire. That's our works. All these things are how we're being sanctified. And as we grow and get dominion, this is the time we're all being roasted in the fire, this time of the year, because this is a sabbatical year. It is not a jubilee in my understanding. It's a sabbatical. Because I have fruit trees on my property, and there's so much produce, it just has to go to waste. You know, that's how I've confirmed to myself that the Father has me in the right sabbatical year. One of the gold, the silver, verse 24 number. You should wash the garments on the 7th day, and you may come into the camp. And this is interesting too. When you conquer a nation, and let me explain this. The land of Canaan is like our Garden of Eden, this other realm that I'm talking about. And these 7 nations, you know, we're not going to go, we're just read Deuteronomy 7. These 7 nations squatted. They had no right to be there. We were called as the sons and daughters of the creator of the heaven and earth and we were slaughtered through our family, and filthy devils moved into our lands. The stations of the book of Numbers 6, I think. There's 7 things Yahweh hates, and all these connection to that. So in other words, when we go in there to slaughter these unclean spirits, because I have my anointing and my calling, only use the scripture, and I use the scripture today, Satan, boom, I quote the scripture and it gets destroyed. See? Yeah, they don't live and die like we do, but they can be injured, they can be thrown into the pit, they can be imprisoned. You know, I see them being, they don't stay dead. Because even that's why even angels have, our messengers have swords and weapons. They can get hurt too. The weapons are used against the spirit realm. So if there's a weapon in an angel's hand and it hurts a demon, that means the demon can be injured. And by reversing that in the messenger. But this is a neat thing. All these are little hints. As a warrior, verse 30. From the children of Israel's half, you will take 1 out of every 50 men, of man, cattle, of all the stuff. Give them to the Levites, guarding to the duty of the sanctuary. It's like a tax. Camp who did not go out to do the war against the United States, they have to 1 out of every, the men of battle who went up to the campaign, 1 out of every 500 of the spoil goes to the tax, a donation to Yahweh. Now, of the non-warriors, take 1 out of 50. So that's a lot more taxation. That's a lot more they have to give up to Aaron or Eleazar. And there's even little hints as far as just go with me. And this is, again, we're still in chapter 31. So the found of ornaments of gold and armlets and bracelets, signet rings, earrings, and necklaces. And Moshe and Eleazar the Cohen received the gold from them, all the fashioned ornament, all the gold of this offering. So it's type the warriors, they're giving up the offering, the spoil, the riches, because it's a great and joyous life. It's hard, believe me, it's very hard. It expends so much energy and noise flows through. You're responsible for a lot, a warrior type. So we have all of the riches of these kingdoms being pillaged, because our parents, I mean, all the way up and down the line, we come out of adding hell of sin. Our parents did not Shema Yahweh, you know, they did not Deuteronomy 6 him. You did not teach their children when they walk by the way, when they walk slaughtered. Now, chapter 32 talks about the tableland that Reuben and Gad and part of Manasseh wanted, because that was an area of the old, let's see, yeah, the Amorite land. So I don't have a lot on. There's a tableland that the cattle, the beef of bulls, the type of leadership. So there's some symbolic things to each. Have a lot connected into a spiritual person. If we have to go in with our brothers and sisters who have to climb the mountains and the hills. The other land where Jerusalem is, all the other, there's a lot. It's not a mountainous land, but it's a lot of hills and valleys and hills and valleys. And they promise to fight and go in before them, because it's symbolic in the spiritual sense. You know, because it's harder tendons and stuff in the mountains. Because remember, 40, level all the mountains, command all the hills to crumble down in the dust, and raise up all the valleys. That's sort of what this is. We have an easier life in that respect. We don't have all the ups and the downs, but ups and downs and fight for our brothers. On yet. Now, there are other teachers that teach the different departures. I need to sit down. I haven't disciplined myself. I need to sit down. Every one of these stops. This is chapter 33 of Numbers. We go through 42 stages of our life to bring us into a conversion. Okay. Because other people have taught that, but there's a lot of things I don't trust about what they're teaching. I would go into the pictograms. I would see the shadows the Father's showing you. Okay. So I've been in the faith for I don't know how to kill them. I've cried out. There's so much of me that's still in the way. The Father doesn't have, Yahushua doesn't have the full dominion over me. Not because I'm in direct rebellion, but I'm just so damaged goods, so fallen. It's so hard to walk out of it. I don't know how to unravel. I don't know how to unravel what I have become through my fallen life. And he understands it. He understands. He reads the intents of the heart. I know he does. He's kind and loving. Now here it gets good, the spirit realm. 34 discusses the boundaries of the land of Canaan. We won't go into any detail. We have a land. And we have to kill out 7 squadrons. The reason we're able to slaughter them, Satan had no right to go there. He, through his despicable natures, went and just psychopaths. The laws of love, loving your neighbor yourself does not mean a filthy devil or an unclean spirit. You have to kill them. They're like a cancer that has to be radiated out. They are a filthy vial of nothing. So chapter 34 describes the borders. I won't go through it, but this is now our land. The Father, this is an actual contract. He's making a land deed spiritually that we have this whole land cleared out. That I have more clarity of mind. He done it away because that's how you get delivered in the Messiah. Moshe taught of me. This is his realm. There's another realm right alongside of ours. That's why my intro on this this live chat, it's the kingdom right among the doesn't come up for some messengers. I'm trying to use the paganized terminologies to help people don't understand our Ephraimic ways. Verse 35. I'm sorry, chapter 35. Pick up 2. Numbers chapter 35, verse. Command the children of Israel, they will give first chapters of these Torah portions to the book of Numbers. The Levites camp on all 4 sides of the sanctuary. Okay. All 4 sides. And the children of Israel camp surrounding about them. Our spirits, or our spirit man, is a type of the inner sanctuary where Yahweh lives. And the angels always are forgive the Levites as cities to dwell in and their inheritance, their possession. So as we mature and come into the Messiah, the more angels get assigned to us. Remember, Yahushua talked to this semi-pagan guy. He said, hey, I want to be yours. I said, he looked into the spirit realm in him. He said, well, yeah, you do have birds. They're nesting in your branches. Yes. But the Son of Man has no head in you. No, he's saying you're not, you have spirit realm. He has cities where the angels are working with him. It's a very bad place to lay. Commanded the Levites have cities to dwell in their inheritance, in their possession. Also give the Levites open land around those cities. Thus you have cities to dwell in and their open lands. And he talks about they're going to start out with 6 cities and end up with 48 cities. I think that is, in all of us, it's the same thing. 6 and then later on 48 as we mature. Because the Father's not going to lay in the amazing infrastructure for someone who gets eaten up or parallel right beside us. In 48, it's 4 times 48, and that's double. That means there's a double blessing. So you have twice the amount of protection around you now. But you got to make homes for them. They're like people like us. They have thoughts. They relax. They do things. Uh, Came back to this earth and he sat down and ate his honeycomb and his fish, lives like we do. So we have to give quarters for them to live in. You start out the Messiah, he's going to give you 6 of these refuge cities. These are court cities. It's not just military, it's ministering spirits that have legal abilities. It's like I've been doing more petitioning the courts of heaven now. When I'm seeing such injustice and no one's doing anything to stop it, I said, Father, you have to intervene. How can we survive in this? And he goes, what that means, he's saying now they have the Levites, the Lewites, and their, give me an example, as their home base, the cities with the courts. So he goes in, actually, after he says, and then 48 cities for the people to do it, it's a court where it's like a police state or a government. Ministering spirits are both militarily, and they have a government of taking care of the legal jurisdiction also. Again, it's all conduited through the Father and the Son. Don't get me wrong. Yeshua is in charge of everything, but still, there is hands-on that Yahshua. Remember the 7 eyes of Yahuwah that travel to and fro throughout all the earth to show himself strong on behalf of all those whose hearts are perfect towards him. So, a few of these, I'm just trying to keep this as light as possible. This is verse 15, Numbers 35:15. 6 cities are for refuge for the children of Israel, and for the sojourner, and for the settler in their midst, for everyone who accidentally kills someone to flee there. When you sin against a brother, the fathers, the Lewites, or the ministering spirits, who are the court one, the judges in the type. They oversee the legal matters to where, okay, they bring it to the father. He dies, he is a murderer. Talks about murder. Now, look at verse 19. Now, if the revenger of blood himself puts the murderer to death, when he hates him, he puts him to death. If he thrusts him through in hatred, throws at him while he's lying in wait so that he dies, or in enmity, he smites him with his hand so that he dies, the one who smote him will certainly be put to death. He is a murderer. He's giving some jurisdictional things for law. If you say a wrong word, you can kill somebody. If you get anger and fear yourself and do something damaging to your brother, you murdered him. See? Spiritual. And this is interesting too. So we all spiritually murdered somebody somewhere in our lives. We said a vile word. And the only way you can be released out of a refuge city that the messengers set you in is by the death of the high priest. So once you're fully dead to the self, to the Messiah, death of high priest, you're set free. And we are a type of him. We are his body. So once we are dead and then we are free, we can go free. We are set free from the refuge city. We have legal matters against it. Symbolism. And this picks back up on adultery and idolatry. This is chapter 36. This is Numbers 36. Complaining about what had done to them. Go to verse 2. Yahweh has commanded my master to give the land as an inheritance by lot to the children of Zelophehad and his daughters. Now, it should be ripped away from ours and is to be added to the inheritance of their fathers, because the authority is the man. The man calls the shots, he owns things. That's why in our faith, women don't own property unless they have no man of the family to rule over it. And a woman who does, it's a sin. It's not Torah. It's a filthy world, but women can't own property if there's a man to own it for her. Women they're not head. Woman was made for man. The man was not made for the woman. They're the weaker vessel. Remember, I told you all of their compartments in the brain are wide open. They have to be managed. What did he say back in Bereshit, especially after Chava or Eve fell? He said, rule over her, she will women do. Because they raise kids. They practice on their husbands. They have to monitor and oversee. How do they learn to do that? They manipulate and control and treat their husbands and child if the husband will not rule over them. You know, I made a mistake with my marriage. I didn't rule over her, and I paid the price. Just threw away 16. Don't get me wrong, learned a lot. Father turns all things into good. So look at that. If they're married to any of the other tribes, the inheritance will be dispersed. So this is picking back up in the first part of the committing adultery with the women of Moab. So you do not have your land away. There's a spiritual we're talking about. There's another dimension we are talking about. And this is a sabbatical year. We have all our debts released, and every sabbatical and jubilee year, then exemptions in Torah. But everything we've given away should be brought back in the 50th year. So, like, for example, on the Jubilee's 50 year, how can I say that? Into the wilderness. I was called about. Seems we will all have a deep calling around the age of 40. Okay. Now, remember, he said, wait in Jerusalem for 10 days until the power from on high comes upon you. And that's the Jubilee. You add another 10 days to that, or 10 years, and then the power from on high comes upon you. So you got to piece. That's how the Father teaches. You have to piece this all together. So let them marry within their own family's clans. So that way this spiritual realm will not be divided. So when you marry with an unequal yoking, all of that land gets ripped up. It gets divided, subdivided. It gets taken into tax sales metaphorically. So this is a very good point. Let me see. I'll see if I can cover anything else. Okay, let's go back into chapter 22, Numbers 22. Balak, son of Zippor, Balaam. Why are they 7 bulls and 7 rams on 7 altars, or bull and a ram on each altar? Why are they doing these similar offerings like us? Maybe they're of the same faith. So he starts to trick. Satan's warning us. He starts to trick through these evil. Okay, let's go through a couple. Okay, look at the sequencing here. Build 7 altars for me here. Prepare 7 bulls and 7 rams for me here. So Balak did as Balaam had spoken, and Balaam offered a bull and a ram on each altar. Now let me explain this. This is a covenantal meal. Okay, just like in Exodus 24, 70 elders and Aaron, and they were able to go up partially up the mountain. That's a first fruit resurrection. Of course, Moshe was able to ascend into the mountain itself and be in the presence of Yah. That's why the Father had to take Moshe and have him pass away. He was so saturated with Yahweh's life, he wasn't going to die unless the Father had him die. He wasn't going to die anymore. He was so converted, he went back to the pre-fall Adam. So he had to be, because the Torah cannot bring you into the kingdom, cannot bring you into the promised land. That's so again, these are covenantal meals, and Israel's watching them saying, why? They're very serious. I think we have some friendship here. They might serve the same God we do. One more example. Close. Yeah, let's go back. Let's switch over here. Go to 25, Numbers 25. Let's finish up with this. So Yisrael dwelt, this is verse 1, in the Shittim. And the people began to whore with the daughters of Moab. Remember the clingy bodies, the sheery clothing, where you're seeing these silhouettes of you alien from another planet. And it's kind of hard to get to know them. It's like, physical beauty, like, wow. You're just in a trance around a beautiful woman, you see. So that's how it is. It's the same thing Satan had put. a little boy in a candy store type thing. They invited the people with their scantily clad girls to the slaughterings of their mighty ones. There's that it is again. They are having similar offerings. They're very much like the Messiah. The people ate and they bowed down to their mighty ones. And if you understand, when you take off your clothes, you go into a sexual position, you're actually bowing down. Yeah, sometimes I won't mention types of positions, but you're basically bowing down to penetrate the body. Remember that it's the Be'el, the pure, the dominator of openings, the master of openings, of body openings. The verse 3, 25:3 of Numbers. Thus Yashra and Yah. Yeah, that's all I wanted to cover. I don't want to make this too long, so just pray about it. This is so much fun. Once you can understand the Torah has a meaning, the kingdom of Yahweh is among you. It doesn't come by observation. It doesn't come by looking up the sky. It's here. The more you kill yourself off, metaphor, the more this kingdom becomes operating to you. It's a lot easier for me to understand. It's sort of like when I do my spiritual warfare, I ask the Father for some sight to see what he's having the messengers do. And it's amazing. I can't explain all the things they do. It's a realm that does not have time and space. And I mean, it's kind of hard to explain, but everything intermeshes. There's two kingdoms in parallel. And again, I've had a couple of experiences to where the demons and the messengers are operating in this realm that you're looking out through your eyes. Then it fueled me a couple of times, like when I was attacked with was some kind of an astral projection that bound me. They put you in prison, you can't move, and they made me say something bad. Like a Messiah is something I won't say, and then within a millisecond, two warriors are in there knocking that thing out, and it was gone. That was in this realm. So they do operate in this realm. It's parallel. Yahushua, all of the 12 apostles' demons were cast out in the other realm. Okay. But all the people he did, all the healings, all of the demons, he's still able to cast them out in this realm that you're existing in. If you don't think for 1 second the 12 apostles weren't loaded with demons just like the rest of it, their land of Canaan was loaded. All of these squatters were in their lands too. Yahushua taught them how to conquer them and not yield to them and not bow to their strongholds. So he delivered all of them by inference and symbolism, because this in Galilee area, they knowing them falling by the direction, by the Holy Spirit, mending their nets. You're called. No, he knew their character. He checked in up on the same area. So he got to know their characters. He didn't just meaning, mighty, mo, you. It doesn't work that way. The character has to be exposed. There has to be some basis to build on a character before he's going to assimilate all this into us. Let me give you a teaser. Let me see here. But we'll just end up with this. John 1:51, you're going to see the Son of Man with the messengers ascending and descending upon him. Our patriarch Jacob, we met that pillar stone, and he saw the doorway to heaven open up. He was a type of the Messiah. The pillar stone was, but he was also a shadowy type. That was a Messiah, the stone, the rock of offense, the stone of stumbling. So Jacob was able to have a heaven open up to him that he was ministering to by ministering spirits. And later on, he had to actually wrestle with the Messiah. So you receive your Holy Spirit first, then you have to go through your time of wrestling with him. You had to be so zealous, so committed to wanting to lay down your life to get. You're not going to let him go until he blesses you with overcoming Azel, Yashrael, overcoming Azel. See that gateway to heaven, that angels ascending and descending, the stairway to heaven is the other realm that's operating right beside us and transports his greatness and power in all his ways. The whirlwind in the book of Yah, the stairway to heaven, what I call the anointing. There's just a strong flow of like living energy waters that are flowing. There's 3 or 4 ways that he shows himself where he comes and goes amongst us. It's right here. It's in this realm. Again, let me say this. The apostles had their land of Canaan completely contaminated by the 7 nations from their horrible ancestry, their stupidity of their ancestors, not knowing what to do. They had that. And he delivered them just the way I'm telling to you. He took this Torah and taught them the Torah, the way it's supposed to be taught. Moshe taught me. He revealed all my ways. I'll maybe do a part 2 on this to give you some more things to draw upon. Yeshayahu, or the book of Isaiah, just go through it. Page after step after step after step. Just, you can spend 10 years in the book of Yeshayahu. It explains so much of Messiah. So this is all for now. Blessings, the Shabbat day. May Yahweh bless you, keep you. May his countenance shine upon you. May Yahweh give you his shalom. Good night, brothers. Talk to you later.